Alrighty, guys, it's Jay, and topic for the day I want to talk about is something I've seen play out in my own life, and a bunch of others' lives in general. I'm a bit of an outcast, and I see the other people that are misfits going through the same exact thing I go through. So I want to bring this topic to the surface, but this topic is something that really, I thought needed to be talked about, needed to be discussed, and needed to be understood. So, we all know now that I listen to the Bible, okay? Now, in many stories in the Bible, the people chosen to be a prophet are usually the ones who get bombarded with the most trauma. Sometimes people even get blamed and stuff. And of course, and a bunch of people will go about like doing horrendous things to them or hurting them in some way. So, I just want to say this. All right, this is the topic at hand. But when you see multiple people going after one person, chances are that person is not really wrong at all for what they've done. All right, chances are that person was probably bullied and went out and did that thing that they did. Um, I myself, I go through this a lot in my own personal life where I have multiple people coming after me for things I do. Some of it isn't even bad at all, and I end up with the short end of the stick more times than I could count in my entire life. I ended up, going through a lot of traumatic events in my life, and I ended up with the short end of the stick. Meanwhile, the people all clicking and forming against me are the ones who usually get that win. Now, I will say this. We saw a huge event as of recently with Sniper Wolf that I showed you on the last video I made, that she was going through extremely a lot of stuff. And I took her side on it. I don't really actually know her, but it's, for me, when I got dragged into it, I looked at the situation as a whole. And I'm like, well, why do you need the whole internet on your side when there's a person here that's probably suffering more than you and nobody even talks about it? Because, to be honest, when you look at it, the whole situation, she could have been bullied. She could have been bullied. I myself get bullied, and sometimes I speak up for a situation that I believe wholeheartedly that people shouldn't be, dabbling in certain things or talking about certain things in certain situations. And I get a lot of people going against me on things I choose to do. It's just inevitable for me. I see it happen a lot. But I choose to be nothing else and nobody else other than myself. So, what I'm trying to put in perspective here is when you see a massive amount of people, berating somebody, ostracizing somebody, just criticizing them, judging them, chances are they might not be the problem after all. The problem might be the group of people, and there could be multiple people within that group that are out there going after that person and going in and making trouble for that person so they don't succeed at something. Because I too have had that happen to me. And that's why my choices I've made in life have led me to this point of where I'm not always the bad guy, but I tend to be the bad guy in a lot of situations because a lot of people disagree with things I say, disagree with things I do, just genuinely disagree with me as a whole and don't allow me to have my freedom sometimes. That's what it comes down to. It becomes an awful cold hard reality of people just taking your freedom from you and not allowing you to become successful or grow as a person or become strong. And I see this a lot. It plays out a lot in life, in my real life, and I see this a lot in other people's life play out. That I do see they're by themselves, and because they choose to be by themselves, they usually get really bullied and have a lot of people go against them. But at the end of the day, it's not normally them that's doing it, and it's just something you want to take into consideration. As of recent, the Sniper Wolf event has died down, and I will explain why sometimes the person getting all the harassment and abuse and all that is normally the person in the right. Because while standing there and looking at it, you can see why Sniper Wolf has won. She had the whole entire internet harassing her over something she made a mistake in. And the reality, the truth is, looking back on the evidence, we don't know it, but she was probably bullied. And YouTube is looking at that as an example of, well, maybe she doesn't deserve to be punished for this situation after all. Maybe there's something totally more egregious going on here, or outrageous, sorry, that should be taken into consideration. And YouTube looked at it as seeing a whole bunch of people go against one single person on the internet. And I was looking in the comments, and I'm even sitting there researching it, and I'm like, man, this is rough. And then I started watching this other person's profile to see what they were doing in reaction to this, and they were doing exactly as I expected. It just became pretty predictable. And I still see people going after the situation, even after it's all said and done. And I'm like, what are you holding on to at this point? The thing is done and over, and you keep holding on to the event as it is. At the end of the day, you don't have right to ostracize, criticize, condemn somebody so much to the point where you think they did something wrong only because somebody said it. But have you seen the evidence and proof of what the person have done wrong? Because I can guarantee you that at the end of the day, if you didn't see the evidence, what are you doing? Making these judgment calls on people. If you see the same people coming back continuously and be like, well, that person did this person did this. Hold on a second. Let's go back to the Bible. All right? The Bible explains. I forget his name. It was a story in Judges. Not Simon. But I can't think of the name right now. Samson. Okay. Samson was a person who had so many horrible things done to him that he acted in a way that could have, really hurt somebody, of course, but he acted in a way where he was standing up for himself. And that's the point of Samson's story. If you go and look at it in Judges, he had a lot of really bad stuff happen to him. The man had his actual potential wife taken from him and given off to another guy, because that's how sad that story was. So he turned around and burned down a whole house, or like a field or something like that. I forget what it was. He burned something, and he really, really damaged something. I have to go back and reread it and listen to it again. But at the end of the day, you have to look at it as a whole. Who is getting bullied more here, and who is not being bullied? Because if you're looking at it as a stance as the person's being bullied as a whole, and you're seeing it go on, what are you doing? Not standing up for that person. Because the person that you're not standing up for, more than likely, might be in the right. And the reason they're getting bullied is because you believed everything that got said about them. When reality, the truth is, if you pay attention to it, they could be hurting inside, and you're just not even aware of it, because you're misunderstanding things because you're hearing a story come from multiple people on that side. That's how those things take place. And I can say in most of my situations, multiple people take the side of the people who are all judging me to begin with and throwing me under the bus more times than I need to. And Sniper Wolf's situation is a situation that she should have never went through to begin with, but she did. And it escalated to that because, from what I understand, I don't know this, I don't believe it, but there had to have been some sort of bullying there. And there was bullying before the situation took place and escalated. Because I remember like a couple weeks before the whole thing took place and escalated, where people were complaining about her content. All right. And then the content complaint continued to escalate, and people continued to complain, and just sat there and acted outrageous in every way, shape, or form possible. So this is something to take into consideration. Do not go around taking a side until you fully see what is going on in a situation. And if somebody's dragging you into that side, don't take that side, because more than likely, you take that side, you're taking the wrong side. Because what happened in my situation, I got pulled into that, and that's why I didn't take the side of the people going after the people, because it just got ridiculous, and I wanted no part of it. And I'm kind of glad she came out strong like she did. at the end of the day, you have to sit there and look at that situation like that. You have to look at situations where everybody that's going after one particular person, it might not be the bad guy after all. Maybe the people going after the people, maybe the people including multiple people to go after that one person, there might be more bad guys in that situation than the one you're all yelling and screaming at. Trust me. There's a lot of times I'm in situations that I see a lot of people doing some really horrible shit that will take the side of the people doing horrible shit and come after me and throw me under the bus more times than I need to. So this is just a video to take into consideration that maybe you should stand back and stop judging certain scenarios, stop judging people, and pay attention to everything that's going on, because you might actually be on the wrong side or might be taking the wrong side. That's why when you look at Sniper Wolf's situation, she won. She won. She got a blessing from God. That's how that always works. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you listen to this. I hope you like this. And I'm bringing this to the surface because I see this happen in a lot of situations. And I think it's time we looked at it as a whole. And you know, the people getting berated more than they need to, maybe they are not the bad guys after all. Maybe looking at the situation as a whole and watching and researching and paying attention to things, maybe that's how you should be doing things from now on. Just a bit of like food for thought. But that's about it for me, guys. So if you like this video here, please hit like, subscribe to the channel, and also I'll be bringing more content like this for this channel. Thank you for listening to my tips on life, my blogs, everything. And until then, guys, take it easy.